let's start with one of the biggest concerns for many this new year, and that's the economy. 2/3 of the public recently rated the economy as poor. However, the same poll, an AP National Opinion Research Center poll, showed that the percent of Republicans that are optimistic about the economy and that it will improve this year. Chad, the tariffs have been a big thing and relate to the economy. How much do you expect Trump to carry these tariffs out?
I think the biggest thing to understand is that Trump's goals are unachievable because they're contradictory. I mean, it's as if he's wanting to jump up and down while holding still. It's a definitional impossibility. And to understand why it's complicated, though. I mean, so for example, one of the things that he wants to do is encourage foreign direct investment into the United States. But the problem is that there's a thing called the balance of payments identity that shows that the trade balance and the net inflows of capital are equal and opposite forces. And that's not even economic theory. It is a mathematical reality and identity. Nobel laureate Paul Krugman wrote a really interesting Substack piece, a post on this this week. I don't normally endorse his views. He's too left for me. But on this particular topic, he's unequivocally correct. You can't do this.
Can't do the tariffs.
Well, no. You can't have an increase in foreign direct investment and decrease the trade deficit, which are his goals.
Thanks for the clarification. Anirban, how do you see the economy?
No, I like that you put that out, right? It's the accounting identity. How do you do that, right? Your national savings and your net capital inflow, they have to kind of match. Anyway, so, I have a different take on this, right? Economy, I just don't see it in terms of unemployment or inflation. I'm also interested in inequality and how Americans suffer from day to day due to healthcare and other reasons. So I'm just interested to see what happens to an economy when it's quite literally ruled by oligarchs, that most of them have no experience in government.
You're talking about oligarchs in this country
in
or
this
worldwide?
country, in this country, in the United States, the oligarchic administration that we are seeing right now of billionaires, how they think about, massive tax cuts would happen, I'm sure. There will be record deportations, I don't know. If the budget gets passed, healthcare companies will continue to delay and deny healthcare and cause untold misery to millions of Americans. Would that change? I doubt it. Inequality in the United States, which is the worst, right, since the 1970s, would it become better? I doubt it. But massive tax cuts and record deportations, I don't know. It will scramble a lot of issues in the United States. I don't see a very positive outlook for a large number of working class Americans.
And I think some of the challenge here is that Trump doesn't have a clear vision for economic policy. As we started, he clearly cares about tariffs, but when I assess him as a politician and a political leader, he's more reactionary than anything else. So he is inheriting the best economic conditions of any incoming president this century. But how I think his economic legacy is going to be defined is reacting to different twists and turns in the global economy and how well he's able to navigate those.
Chad, what do you think about the bread and butter issues for the local middle America folks out there? What's the economy going to be like for this year?
I don't know. I think more about these big picture things like, the Trump policies that he's proposed and the inherent contradictions. So for example, he wants to increase tariffs, which Kamala Harris was correct in saying that that's a sales tax on foreign goods and it's regressive. That's a bread and butter issue you could think about. He wants to deport 4.6% of the labor force, people who largely specialize in manual labor jobs, including agriculture and construction.
And that's a big concern in central New York with dairy farmers.
Oh, for sure. But it's not just when immigrant women are specializing in child and home care kinds of jobs, that helps facilitate increased labor force participation of American-born women. And so that will kind of go away. And he wants to do all this while lowering prices. That's not ever going to happen. And so what I think you're more likely to see is things like targeted tariffs and threats to try to bargain for the things that he really wants. So like Mexico, we're going to put tariffs on you unless you accept immigrants that we're deporting right away. I think that's his strategy.
Transactional.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the politicians said a lot of stuff. Trump said a lot of stuff, made a lot of promises. Perception's reality. Here's the issue. COVID happened. We were getting support checks because of COVID. Those stopped. Then credit cards went up. so people owe more on credit cards. They go into grocery stores, they're paying more, and at the end of the day, they believe that we're not in a good place economically. But then Trump gets elected, and there's a bump on Wall Street. So it's going to be interesting to see where that finally plays out.
One of the things that stood out to me, though, because I'm knee-deep in post-election research, and obviously the economy was a major issue, it's really partisanship that's driving economic perceptions, right? Republicans in February are going to say the economy's doing great when Trump's in office for like 1 week and it hasn't been able to do hardly anything. So it's really, rather than economic conditions driving partisan viewpoints, I think it's partisanship driving economic impressions in a lot of ways.
But I think that glow of Trump will go away because if he does what he wants to do, inflation will rise, and that will undermine his credibility.